Well, today is day 3 of making videos about Walrus Audio's Canvas line in a row. Welcome back to Secret Weapons. My name is Mark Johnston, and if this is your first time here, we don't always make content about Walrus Audio, but I guess this week we kind of do. If that's the kind of thing that you enjoy, please hit that like and subscribe button and stick around for future videos. And today we are taking a look at the Walrus Audio Canvas HP Plus power supply. So the format of today's video is going to be a little bit different. We have covered both the Canvas stuff in general, as well as Walrus Audio's power supplies in specific a couple of times here on the channel. And today, we are just going to do an unboxing because, one, the packaging that the Canvas power supplies comes in is quite nice, and I think it's going to be fun to do a little bit of an unboxing about that, as well as it being a better format for including what comes with the power supply, but also because it's a power supply. We've talked about Walrus's Canvas power here on the channel before, and I will link to that in the description down below. But instead today, we are just going to unbox it, talk through the specific features on the new power supply, and then wire up a board that makes the best use of everything involved. And then at the end, we'll probably strum a couple of chords just to confirm that it does in fact power everything for completionist's sake. So we're not throwing boxes this time around. As you can see, this is very Apple-esque as a package. And let's start with the most important thing first. Here is the HP Plus itself. So as you can see, this builds upon that original Canvas HP in quite a few ways. You now have 7 500 milliamp 9-volt ports, a single adjustable 500 milliamp port adjustable between 9, 12, and 18 volts. And then you have not one, but 2 of these 3 amp ports, and these are adjustable between 9 and 12 volts. And what these are for is powering things like your Neural DSP Quad Cortex, your Neural DSP Nano Cortex, your HX Stomp, or even something like these Victory Amps Valve preamps. And so something like this is literally a Valve preamp. There are tubes in this thing. There is no power amp in here, but it requires, as you can see, 12 volts DC in, and it requires more than 500 milliamps. But this thing will power no problem through one of these 3 amp ports. And then with something like the Nano Cortex, even though I've had success powering it on 500 milliamps before, it's technically looking for 600, and because of that, I have run into some behavioral issues powering below that. Something like the Canvas Power HP Plus will actually allow me to power something like this and something like this at the exact same time, which actually has a really fascinating consequence. It means that I could use this power supply to build out a pretty full pedal board, tuner, modulation, overdrive, compression, delay, reverb, whatever else I want to throw in here, and then I can power this as my preamp, and this even just for IRs and additional multi-effects and all of that stuff. So you can actually build a really cool tube-driven, IR-loaded, full-featured rig with one single power supply and do it in ways that would normally require weird additional kind of complications to power everything. And this could be swapped out for the full-size Quad Cortex as well. So let's keep moving on through an unboxing. Nothing in here. This is just covering up the wall wart right here. This is going to be your power brick. This attaches to this side, and then this is going to be your IEC adapter that goes to your wall or wherever else. We now have all of the additional stuff right here. Let's flip this box upside down and open it up. It comes with mounting brackets for securing this thing to the bottom of a pedal board without Velcro or dual lock, which is how I always mount my pedal boards to the bottom. I always just throw Velcro across the bottom of this, which is probably almost objectively the wrong way to do it. If you're going to do anything fly date related or whatever, if you're going to take this thing on the road, the Velcro is never your friend, but I don't do a lot of that. So I never bothered to use these, but this is definitely going to be a more preferable way to mount this to your pedal board. It is worth noting that I don't know how to use these. You have your IEC cable for plugging into here, and then you have what is incredibly useful, which is a wealth of well, you've got your sticker, which is always important. Throw it on your guitar, acoustic guitar case. QR code for the manual, one card, one sheet, whatever. Product guide, a guitar pick, and all of your cables. And what I love here is you have long cables. I'm a big fan of companies that give you shorter cables because it just makes under the board runs a lot easier. You've got 2, 4, 5 shorties. You've got 3 long cables. And then you have 2 sets of alternately colored cables. So you've got 8, 9, 10, 11, 16 cables here for your 7, 8, 9, 10 for your 10 ports right here. So more than you need, which is quite nice. And of course, with these things, you also have your 24 volt in, which is where this guy goes. And then you can also link out using a 24 volt through to also power an additional Canvas power supply if you need to. Which means that if this is not enough power for you, you can throw on something like the Canvas 22 next to it, or in my case, on top of it here, and give yourself something in the ballpark of nearly 30 ports of power, including 2 of those 3 amp sends. So you could power 2 devices, your iPad and your phone. You could power nearly 30 pedals and 2 quad cortexes on this thing. I would be curious to know how close you get before you actually run out. The nice thing about these is, as we covered in a previous video, on this side of the pedal, on your left, my right, looking down, you actually have a usage indicator that will kind of light up as you use 10, 20, 50, and 100% of the available power on the power supply, which means as you add things to this rig, you will know before you get there if you are going to run out of juice and start underpowering your gear. Okay, let's take that Canvas 22 back out of the equation. Take the Power HP Plus and wire up a pedal board with just this one, using both that Sheriff preamp and the Nano Cortex for IRs and a few additional little bits of processing, and then just build out a pedal board with the rest of it and see what we can come up with. All right, so we've got a board wired up here, and if you want to see a video where we really dig into how much you can power off of the Canvas power stuff, I'm going to link down below the last video we did on these Walrus Canvas powers. We went ahead and started daisy chaining multiple of these together and plugging in more and more stuff until we could get to a point where it all started failing. But for this video, I wanted to instead build a board that was more particular to the HP Plus itself. And so what we have here is the Polytune, the Origin Effects Cali 76 stacked, the Chase Bliss Condor, and then we go into our preamp, which is going to be the Sheriff V4 valve preamp from Victory. And this is a 12 volt 3 amp pedal utilizing one of those 2 high power outputs on the Canvas HP Plus. We then go into the Nano Cortex, which in this context is only running IRs, but could also be a wealth of other effects built into it as well. Compressors, EQs, reverbs, delays, chorus, all that stuff. And it's an interesting use case here because this is a pedal that requires either 9 or 12 volts, but takes 600 milliamps of draw, which means it will power usually with a 500, but I have had some strange behavioral issues with this under those contexts. And so powering it with that second high output on here is really kind of good for peace of mind and everything. From there, we go into the Microcosm and stereo, the Keeley Halo Core, and the Maris and Chase Bliss CXM 1978. And this is a reasonably high draw board for its size, and we are using about 20% of the on-tap power in this thing, and we still have access to the ability to chain out if we wanted to use the more than the remaining power ports on here, which we still have, I believe, 2 more. And from there, I could daisy chain out to more of our power supplies. And we still have our USB-C for keeping my phone or tablet charged the whole way through. So let's go ahead and grab a guitar and just give a listen to this pedal board.